I was watching and shouted amen at my television. I worked 3 years in counterterrorism as an assistant United States attorney before joining Governor Daniels. I saw a sober-minded, realistic approach to keep us safe and free for 7 years after 9/11. I watch now, horrified, as heroic Navy SEALs who nearly bloody the lip of an al-Qaeda terrorist get tried at a military tribunal overseas, while Khalid Sheikh Mohammed gets the full array of rights under our Constitution and a trial in our civilian justice system. I wondered on Christmas Day why the underpants bomber who tried to kill hundreds over Detroit wasn't in a room with Jack Bauer for 2 days instead of his public defender. For information about who's Senate. As Justice Jackson said over 50 years ago, the Constitution is not a suicide pact. Now you're probably wondering why I bring this up this morning. I mean, it's not as if keeping al-Qaeda out of Beech Grove is going to be a big issue in this campaign. It won't be. But I simply raise it to provide some insight into my point of view and to draw a distinction between a serious approach to life and death issues and the sophistry, the empty, fancy talk of our political opponents. Our opponents, for better or worse, whatever they might say in this race, helped send this crew to Washington amid great enthusiasm and fanfare. They didn't tell us what weakness would prevail there in the face of those who mean us mortal harm. I wonder what they'll tell us this fall. I am old enough to remember the last time the other party ran the prosecutor's office in Marion County. Let me tell you about our first day. Excuse me. On our first day, Scott Newman had just defeated the incumbent 2 months before. His senior management team, and I use the term loosely, we were all in our early 30s, consisted of Cale Bradford, now a Daniels appointee to the Indiana Court of Appeals, Sheila Carlisle, now one of the county's leading criminal court judges, and yours truly. On our first day, we learned that our predecessors had cut a deal to release from prison the convicted killer of an Indianapolis police officer who was serving a life sentence. When we got wind of this egregious example of misplaced compassion, we immediately moved to set aside the deal. We ended up at the Supreme Court of Indiana. I wrote the brief, Scott argued the case, and Norman Anthony Woodford stayed in prison where he belonged. Those kinds of deals will not happen on my watch. I wouldn't allow it when I was a prosecutor, and I won't allow it when I'm the prosecutor. Finally, I want to leave you with an understanding of the passion I will bring to this campaign and to this cause. Of all the sports that I love, and there are many, nothing can compare to how much I love hockey. And my friends unfamiliar with the game will say to me, why? What is it that you like about it? And I say, everything. There's the speed, the creativity, the skill, the hitting, even the occasional fight. But what I love best about it is the celebration of virtues too often forgotten in our culture. Courage, grit, sacrifice, selfless teamwork, heart, humility. You'll never see a hockey player pull a Sharpie out of his sock and sign an autograph after scoring a goal. You'll never see some preening silly dance that says, look at me, me, me. It's always about the team and your mates. And it's no wonder that the Marines run recruiting ads during the games. There is a great unwritten rule in our sport that says if you get knocked down and you're hurt, you're in pain, you never let anyone see it. Even if you're bleeding, you never let anyone see that you're hurt. You get to the bench no matter what, and you don't flop around on the ice like some European soccer diva. That's the kind of toughness and passion we'll bring to this campaign. If someone takes a shot at us, fairly or unfairly, we'll carry on unfazed. Coaches like to yell at their players when they think they're dogging it. Put your head down and skate. And that's what I pledge to you today. From now to November and beyond, I will put my head down and skate and never let up. Thirty years ago this month, in Lake Placid, before his team was to take on the mighty Soviets in the biggest game of their lives at the Olympics, maybe the biggest game in the history of American sports, the American coach told his team that great moments are born of great opportunity. That's what you have given me, and that's what we have as we go forward today into this campaign together, a great opportunity. That coach, the late Herb Brooks, then looked his players in the eye and he told them, you were born to be hockey players, every last one of you, and you were meant to be here. This is your moment. This is your time. My friends, I have never known a fellow prosecutor who didn't believe the same thing of him or herself, that they were meant to be here, that they were born to do the job. I felt that way when I carried a deputy prosecutor's shield. I feel it more strongly than ever today. If you help me get there, I will prove it all my days for the people of this great community. God bless you all.